You are listening to Peak One Sports.
Hello and welcome. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Sports Page on the Peak One Sports Network. I'm Ashton Nix, and with me, as always, Chris Robb. What is going on, Chris?
Nothing much, man. How's it going?
A lot of craziness around my house. We just got a new dog.
Oh, wow.
So,
That's great.
yeah, and I finally didn't let the wife and kids pick it. Pick which one we had. So, I mean, we've had a couple of Maltese dogs, like little lap dogs, which they're pretty,
Okay, yeah.
I mean, they're not tiny. The one we had before, they called it a teacup Maltese, but it grew up to be pretty big. Out of me showing my hands isn't showing anything, but
Yeah.
I called it a lunchbox Maltese because it was a little bit bigger.
Oh,
And
yeah.
those are yippity dogs. They're all kind of, you can't train them, and everyone spoils them. And then we had a Sheltie, which was a pretty good dog, but they spoiled the crap out of that one. And he had issues where he barked when somebody sneezed,
Oh, wow.
like viciously bark. I mean, nothing aggressive or dangerous, but he would
They're
bark, and
like
you
this.
couldn't calm him down. You just had to let him do that. And he was anxious and worried, and he actually just passed away. So we had just the Maltese, and
Oh,
I
man.
said, okay, I'm getting a dog. It's going. I picked not a German Shepherd. What I pick? A golden retriever.
Golden Retriever. Oh, okay.
Golden
That's my
retriever.
favorite dog,
So
too.
yeah, it's gonna be a big dog, and but loyal and hopefully easy to train. But yeah, he's only 13 weeks old. So yeah, he's
Pretty
already
small.
big. He's bigger than the
hmm
other dog, but
Yeah.
he's a puppy. So he's really ridiculous right now.
That's really cool. Yeah. And you just got it, you said?
I went and picked it up yesterday.
Oh, man. Yeah. I want to get a dog. It's just like a huge commitment. And
It is. Um,
yeah.
and I knew it, and I'm actually gonna have to go out of town for maybe 2 days for work.
hmm
So my wife's like, "Yeah, you just get a dog and then you leave." But yeah, it wasn't planned. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's dogs are expensive, especially dogs that people want. I mean, we
hmm
got a decent discount on this one because it was a little bit older. But
hmm
we had few different offers, and this was the best one. I still had to drive uh, 2 hours one way to pick it up.
hmm Yeah.
And then we had issues in the car on the way back, but I mean, we got it taken care of.
Man.
Everybody's loves the dog now. So
That's really cool. Yeah. I've always wanted, like I said, I've wanted a dog, but it's just like a huge commitment. But that's good. I'm happy for you.
yeah,
I'm happy for
we'll
you.
see. The last time I had a dog that was going to be a big dog, we kind of lived out in the country
hmm
and had a few acres, and now we live on like the whatever it is, a fifth of an acre, tenth of an acre maybe. Uh,
hmm
in a house. We never had a dog this big, so we intend on it to be both kind of an inside and outside dog. So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, we'll see. We'll see how that all goes.
Cool, man. Cool.
But again, thanks for tuning in to this episode. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, comment, and hit that notification button to alert you every time there's a show on Peak One
Mm,
Sports, and listen to all of our shows however you listen to podcasts.
yeah.
Today we have a kind of a fun show for you, sort of like we had our Madden Curse show.
Oh,
Not really talking about anything that's really going on now,
mm,
but we each of us picked a few sports traditions that stick out to us, whether we like them, dislike them, think they're weird. And one of them is actually the same one. So I guess we have five sports
five. Yeah.
traditions we're going to be talking about
hmm
today. And Chris, why don't you go first and talk about your first sports traditions and how you feel about it?
Yeah. So my first sports tradition I'm gonna talk about is the Gatorade bath,
Yeah.
and it's one that I really love. So it's like so basically, Bill Parcells was the first one. That's what the history told us to get a Gatorade bath back in 1984. And then in the Super Bowl in '86, they did it. And then ever since then, everyone is kind of just, all over
Yeah.
football. is really the main sport. Basketball, they do it, but it can get kind of dangerous on a
Yeah.
basketball court. So like I've seen it happen, and the coach slips and players slip, but um, just that sort of thing. Like every big game, you're looking for it. They even have the camera now where they search, like they're at the Gatorade bath, and then the
Yeah.
players come.
Yeah, I like it when there's a big game and the cameraman catches a couple of players that they're ready. Like it's not over yet. They
Hmm.
haven't done it, but they're kind of walking and making their way,
Yeah,
and
like
they
people
know they've
behind people
won.
with the
Yeah,
yeah, that's really cool. Yeah.
yeah. It's obviously popularized in TV shows and movies and
Hmm.
everything. Most sports movies have, at least football,
Yeah.
has a Gatorade bath somewhere in there.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's cool. I actually never really knew like when it started or like, why
Yeah,
he
I had
even
no idea
thought of it.
it was
Yeah.
Parcells.
Yeah, that's what it says. So that was my first one. I just love that tradition. I love like traditional things like that. Just like I always wonder like where did that start? But it's prevalent. It's always a part of the game. So,
So I can't imagine that Bill Parcells planned this in any way. What did it?
absolutely not.
Yeah,
Yeah.
did it say that, have any quotes from any players that just thought about this? Like, hey, let's just dump. Because then now you get the coaches reacting like, oh, they got me, you know. But back
Hmm.
then, before, I'm sure it's happened at some point, maybe not with Gatorade or something.
He probably was pissed.
Yeah, I assume he wasn't like, what the heck just happened?
Right.
Surely it's happened at some point in sports. It may have just gotten popularized when it happened
Yeah.
with Bill Parcells. But yeah,
Yeah.
I can't imagine what was going through Bill Parcells' head
Yeah. That's
when that
hilarious.
happened. Because now, even if the coach gets pissed, they understand what just happened to them.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I don't know did you say what game it was?
It just said a game in 1984. It was just like
Okay.
a regular game. Yeah.
Surely it was a big game when that happened. Maybe there was
Had to
just
have
so
been,
much
right? Yeah.
excitement. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because it's become a big deal where you can bet in the Super Bowl what color Gatorade's going to
Oh yeah,
be
yeah,
dumped on
yeah.
the winning
I'm gonna
coach,
look
and
at it.
yeah, it's definitely one of those traditions that like nobody really thinks about. Hey, this is kind of a weird thing to do.
Yeah.
It's just something we all do. We don't think about it. We look forward to it.
Yeah. So it says Jim Burt, so he was a nose tackle for the Giants, dumped the cooler on Bill Parcells in a revenge after it was a home win over the Redskins. So in '94, so they were the two-time defending NFC champions at that point, and they had beat him. And he went and got the cooler and did it. So it looks like there's a picture of it, and it just shows like his face covered in Gatorade. So it doesn't really look
Yeah.
like he's upset or like sad or happy or anything like that. But I'm sure he was happy. But yeah, so that's where it started. So Jim Burt, the nose tackle, he was the one that did it.
Yeah, that's a cool one. My first one I picked is one of the cool ones. One you don't think about much. It's a classic, but it's the ceremonial first pitch
Yeah,
in baseball games,
yeah,
and really it happens at least in the major league level. It happens every single game.
the game. Yeah.
I remember going to a Rangers game right after the Mavericks won the 2011 championship
Hmm.
to see Dirk Nowitzki throw out the first
Oh, he
pitch,
did it. Yeah,
and
that's
that
cool.
was pretty cool. Like when it's someone special, that ever a
Hmm.
celebrity or whatever, everybody kind of gets around it, and it means nothing.
Yeah,
It's just a pitch.
yeah, yeah.
Uh, but the brutalness of it when you're pitching and you don't throw a strike.
Hmm.
You seen classic videos of like
People, yeah,
50 Cent and
throwing it
other people
out to the
who don't
field.
even know how to throw a baseball really.
Right.
Um, but yeah, it was the tradition began in 1910 when President
Oh
William
wow.
Howard Taft threw the first ball at an opening day game. And since then, presidents, celebrities, war heroes, community leaders, and others have taken part in this ritual.
Hmm.
Um, I know most games you go to, it's some sort of charity or little league or
Yeah.
something
Local
where
celebrities.
yeah, it's cool. Um,
Hmm.
and then you get to playoff games, opening day, World Series, championship games. That's when you get the
The big name
high
celebrities,
rollers.
presidents
Yeah,
every now. Yeah, yeah,
big
yeah.
celebrities.
Hmm.
Um, no, I think that's a cool see, it was between this or singing "Take Me Out to the Ball Game" in the seventh inning stretch.
Yeah, that was one of mine too.
Um,
That it was just like something I thought about for
yeah,
sure.
I thought the history on this was a little more interesting, and that's one where I really wanted to know, like, when, like, uh, like I have no idea how that started, and
Hmm.
it's a pretty old tradition. I wouldn't expect it to go back to 1910 when that happened.
Yeah, yeah, that's really cool. Yeah.
And the again, the oddness of it, the first time it happened, they're just saying, yeah, he's gonna throw a ball for us right before we play a game. Like if it was anybody but the president, like, okay,
Right.
what are you doing? You're just playing catch. But now everyone gets, you know, rallies around it,
Hmm.
and you hope they throw a strike, and
Yeah,
you know,
I
and if
think a
you're
lot of people, a lot of people go just to kind of see, like, not go, but like just to see if they even reach the plate. I've seen a lot of bad pitches, and I know some of them don't even stand on the mound. They like
yeah,
stand kind of like
yeah, because
halfway through.
throwing a pitch from the
It's
mound is
hard.
a lot harder than you think.
Yeah.
Put her on it. That usually the first pitch isn't a professional baseball player,
Hmm.
and then the pressure of that with everybody watching, and it's a big deal. That's
Hmm.
I can imagine. I mean, I hope to be the fame or status or importance one day where someone would ask me, but I don't know that I'd ever want to do this.
Yeah, I would want to do it. I probably would like. I would want to stand on the mound and everything just to
Yeah,
kind
I
of.
would practice. Yeah, I would
Yeah.
be like, I wouldn't let anyone know how hard I was really practicing. But I'm like, hey, yeah, my nephew's real big into baseball. Like he's,
Hmm.
possible college player, and I would have him coaching me. Like,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
this is what
yeah,
we're gonna do.
definitely.
I'm gonna throw a strike, and I'm gonna do it
Yeah.
from the mound. I'm not, and I'd really work hard at an embarrassing amount of how
Yeah,
hard I'd work at that.
yeah, that's really cool.
Before we moved on to the next one, I just want to remind everybody of some of our sponsors. With fantasy football season coming up, don't let that one guy who doesn't pay his league fees on time mess up your league and make you look like a bad commissioner. Let League Swipe change all of that. League Swipe can keep track of league props, give you complete payout history, automatic weekly payout reports, and uses a nag feature to tell players they owe. Best of all, you can use League Swipe to manage the payouts in multiple leagues. Follow League Swipe on Instagram and go to leagueswipe.com today. Okay, now this is the one that we had the same one, and I don't know if we were researching the same website, because this is one I saw and I'm like, I've never heard of this. This is cool. This when you get a bunch of people, a
Hmm.
community to do something. I
Yeah,
always think that's a cool thing to do.
yeah,
We both picked Taylor University,
hmm,
their Silent Night,
yeah,
which is in Upland, Indiana. It's a Christian school, and basically what they do is during their first home game, the crowd takes a vow of silence until from the opening tip until they score their 10th point,
hmm,
which is pretty random. And then when they score their 10th point, the crowd loses it, storms the court, and celebrates several minutes. I
yeah,
watched a video of this, and surely the other team is aware of what happened,
yeah,
so they know,
definitely.
hey, get off the court. They celebrate, and then we go back to
Mhm.
the game. And just for the open, yeah, I saw a video of this, and it's pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, I've known about this for some years now. I've always wanted to go to one. I think I first heard about it probably about 6 or 7 years ago, and
Hmm.
I always watch like videos of that because it's just like so it's so random and so cool. They all dress up in costumes and everything, and they just just I think I think it started out because they wanted to give kids a break because it's like finals week or midterms or something like that,
Yeah.
uh, and it's just so that's like so cool. It's so random, and they just go crazy. Like I watched the video today as well, and as soon as I think they were at the free throw line and they hit the 10th point, and like the refs run off the court, the players run off the court, and everybody just goes in the middle. It's like mayhem. It's crazy.
Yeah, like I said, I just like it because everyone's in on it.
Hmm.
Like everyone knew about the Gatorade bath at the first pitch, but
Yeah.
nobody's participating in it. Um, this is is kind of a couple of others that come to mind. Like I cover a minor league baseball team called the Cleveland Railroaders. I know at their home games, you stand, everybody stands and, applause for the first pitch.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have to keep standing until they throw a strike, and then everyone
Oh,
lets
okay.
out a cheer, and then you go about your day.
Yeah.
This is definitely a different level. I know I went to a Dallas Wings game. I was covering one of those
Okay.
games,
Yeah.
a WNBA team, and they stand until they score their first basket.
Yeah. That's how OKC. That's how the Thunder were. Whenever KD was there, they would all stand until the first bucket. But yeah, and I don't think free throws counted either. So like they'll have to stand until like the first
First
actual
field goal, yeah.
first field goal, yeah.
Um,
And it's like, especially when the team comes out and it's a drought, and like it gets a little anxious in there. Everybody's still standing, but I love that tradition too. That's really cool.
and I think this was Texas A&M. I don't know if it's their tradition or maybe it's a college baseball tradition. But when a opposing pitcher walks a batter in 4 straight pitches, when they come up, if they throw a ball again, the whole stadium chants ball five,
Oh,
and then they do it again. And the video I saw, he got to like ball 8 straight or 8 or 9, or I guess it was more than 8
hmm
because I've been 2 walks, but it was a lot, like 9 or 10
that's a
balls.
lot.
And then finally, the opposing pitcher throws a strike, and everybody cheers and loses their minds. That's definitely a way to get in your head. And this is
Yeah, that's hilarious.
but this is a different level. Like they storm the court, and it's like,
Hmm.
hey, this is what happens. I don't know what collegiate level they are. Obviously, they're not Division
Yeah,
One.
D. Yeah, I think
Uh,
it's either NAI or D3. One of the
but
yeah,
whoever's in charge of this allows it. I
yeah.
didn't dig that deep into it to figure out when this started, but
It's
it's
25. They started 25 years ago.
25 years ago. Okay, so it's
Yeah.
it's a thing. I mean, because that's interesting. That's good that they let them do that, because it's not like throwing out the first pitch. It's not
Hmm.
100-year-old tradition.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
is
yeah.
something that could have easily squashed. Because like I remember in college basketball this past year, they were talking about possibly banning or fining schools that storm the court after a win because it
I
was
thought they did
happening
already,
often.
right? I thought they started.
Oh,
They
have
did.
they?
Yeah, because I remember watching a game and then someone was the commentator was like, they'll gladly take the fine or something like that.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Well, maybe they
yeah,
have,
I'm
but
not
I know
sure.
I know they talked about it this past year because it was happening so often,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
and people were getting in fights or hurt or whatever.
Hmm.
And this one that they let him do, and I guess to say, hey, just be responsible with it. I guess at this point at the beginning of the
Yeah,
game, uh, well, I guess it's a Christian college school, so there's probably not alcohol involved, anyways.
yeah. They probably just yeah.
But when it's happening, it's like just let them storm the court. There's
Hmm.
not a lot of emotion driven. We just won the game and the other team's all
Right,
pissed off about it. They might be down 20-10 when they score their 10th point
right.
and
Yeah,
still do this. I think
yeah.
it's a cool deal. It's opening day or whatever you call it, their first home game.
Yeah.
Um, I I like this tradition. This is really cool, and I think I like it because it's one team that does it. I assume it's just one team that does it. There's not, if everybody did it, it'd
Multiple.
get over.
It'd be getting it'd
Yeah,
get kind of yeah.
yeah, because you go overboard and storming the court and doing things like
Mhm.
that, and somebody would get hurt and something would happen, and they would bring it into all of it. Everybody's fun.
Yeah, yeah. And they're 24-1 in that game, so like they usually win it. So that's definitely a cool tradition. I've always loved it, so that's really
I'm gonna try to follow that, because it's weird. I was watching the video and like you just hear it sounds like practice. You just hear the ball dribbling. They are
cool.
complete. It's not like, hey, nobody cheers. They are completely
It's
silent.
don't say anything. Yeah.
And then they score their 10th basket. And it just erupts.
Hmm.
It sounds it sounds
It gives me
loud.
chills. Like it's so yeah, that's dope. I love it.
Yeah, it's something you expect to hear at a Kansas basketball game or a Duke
Hmm.
basketball game or something, because they get really loud and they were
Yeah,
just
definitely.
so quiet before.
Hmm.
Before we get to our last picks, shout out Betalytics. The Betalytics dashboards allow you to quickly identify the top graded best bets and hottest trends. Use promo code Peak One for 25% off when you sign up today. Go to betalytics.com to start betting smarter. All right, now this last one, I'm not a huge fan of. I was trying to pick something else, so I wouldn't use all the same terminology like cool, this is awesome,
Yeah,
classic,
yeah.
things like that. So I found one that I'm really not a fan of. I don't understand. So Stanford University has this tradition before they play their, it's called the big game, the football game versus Cal
Yeah.
every year. Um, and apologies if you go to Stanford or Cal. I don't understand why this is a rivalry game. Maybe there's a history.
Maybe was it the band thing? Like whenever
Well, yeah,
they
but they were a rivalry game before that.
before that? Okay.
Maybe
Yeah.
not big rivalry. I guess everybody has rivals, and every single school
Yeah.
has a rival.
Hmm.
Maybe ESPN didn't start to cover it more than, but if ESPN milks Yankees and Red Sox, which I think is a cool rivalry, there's fights
Yeah.
and I think they milked the crap out of this one
Hmm.
because neither team is usually relevant.
Yeah.
Stanford
Yeah.
hasn't been relevant in football since
Since
Andrew Luck.
McCaffrey. Yeah, and Andrew Luck. Yeah.
It's and Cal. I were they even relevant when Aaron
Deshaun
Rodgers played there?
Jackson, Marshawn Lynch, maybe.
Uh,
Like since then,
yeah, I
they
don't
were pretty
know.
good then. They were all right then.
Okay, so every year before this big game, they they take a stuffed bear. I assume it says a fake bear, so I assume a stuffed animal bear. This is Cal's mascot. They're the
Yeah,
Cal
going
Bears.
there.
So
Yeah.
they take a bear and they do like a funeral procession type deal, and then
Oh
hang
wow.
it from this fountain statue on their campus. And then they get arrested. I don't know if they use real police, but it's all staged. They get arrested for animal cruelty for a fake animal.
Big animal.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Uh, I guess it didn't say they kill it. They say they have a funeral and then they hang it. And,
Hmm.
I assume, hey, hanging it, you're putting a noose around its neck or something.
Yeah.
It didn't go that far. That's just what I took out of it, hanging, which
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can't believe that hanging anything flies in California.
Yeah. That's why.
But yeah, this is something they do. And maybe my information is outdated and they haven't done this in a while. Uh,
Hmm.
but it's kind of weird and for it not to be a huge deal. Like
That's not a big rivalry at all. Well, I mean, it probably is to them,
it's
but it's
well, yeah,
probably
to
like
them. Well, I mean, and
yeah.
to ESPN as well. I promise you, Stanford versus Cal will be like on ESPN2 or ESPNU or something like. Not that that's big, but they will make sure you can watch that
Yeah.
game.
Hmm.
Ever since the band thing, that's again
That's okay. Yeah.
milking it. That's the only thing
Yeah.
that comes out of this rivalry.
Right.
Uh, you take Oklahoma State. That's probably a better
That's a great, yeah,
rivalry
for sure.
to
Yeah.
look at. But I mean, it's boring. There's
Hmm.
nothing fun about that rivalry. But
Hmm.
yeah, I know teams. Maybe not so much in college, maybe smaller colleges, but you probably hear about it in high school. And honestly, you probably hear about it more on TV. You probably see it dramatized more on TV shows than anything. But stealing the mascot
Oh
of
yeah,
the
I've
other
seen it on like
school.
TV shows. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if that really happens as often anymore, especially these days. That seems like it would be a big, not only animal cruelty stuff, but how little stupid pranks go these days.
Yeah.
Uh, that probably doesn't really happen as much anymore. But
Hmm.
I know that happens. But buying a stuffed animal of the other team, I get it. I get what you're doing.
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah.
It,
Yeah.
it might be like a cool senior prank type deal, but
Yeah.
uh, to call it a for Stanford University, this is what they're. I know
Yeah.
they probably have
Like,
a bunch of other traditions, and
very subpar.
eh,
They're probably worried about like final exams and stuff. They're not really too worried about like
yeah,
pulling a
that's true. This
prank.
doesn't take a lot of creative effort. Where they're
Yeah.
like, "What? We're playing Cal. What do we need to do? Like, here, just grab a
Right.
stuffed bear. Let's."
That's
Like
stuff
maybe
there.
back in the early 1900s, if they play, I don't know how long they've had these football programs. Maybe they had an actual
Mhm.
bear that they killed. I don't know.
Oh man.
Maybe yeah, maybe it's like a protest deal. They used to have an actual bear, and now they're not allowed to anymore. So they're like, fine, we'll just do a stuffed bear, and we're going to arrest
Man,
ourselves for animal
to
cruelty. Or,
go and kill a real bear every every year. That's
Maybe I'm just a moron and they're highly intelligent and this is supposed to be really ironic and I just don't understand.
right. Yeah,
That's probably it is. I can see if we have any
I'm,
Stanford
I'm the same way. I
fans.
have no idea. Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't get it. So,
and I researched it a little bit. I mean, I didn't go
mhm,
deep into it, but this is exactly what it told me. It wasn't like, okay,
mhm,
this stems back from, I can see if you being dramatic with a stuffed bear is making fun of something or being ironic, but I didn't find
mhm.
that story anywhere. So, if anybody wants to enlighten me, go ahead and comment down below and let me know. And
Definitely.
Chris, what is your other
So my
tradition?
next one, is one I don't really like. It's I think it's stupid, truthfully, and I don't know if they do it anymore. I think they stopped in 2008. I definitely don't understand it, but the Detroit Red Wings. So I think it's the first playoff game, home playoff game, or just home playoff games in general. They would get a dead octopus and they would throw it on the ice. And it started in 1952.
Yeah,
So it was the coach and then Steve Eisman. They needed a like an octopus for a photo shoot or something like that. Don't know why
that's
they needed an
that's so
octopus,
random. An octopus for a
right?
photo shoot.
And so they needed one for a photo shoot, and there's a local like restaurant that supplied them pretty much every year since. So fans will go, they'll sneak them in under their jersey, and the restaurant I watched the video, and the owner he'll boil the octopus so like it would lose like all the slime and everything. Put it in a sealed like Ziploc bag, and fans would sneak it in under their jerseys. They would, sneak them in bags, um, and then then they throw them
Even
over
if
the
you
ice.
de-slime or whatever you want to call it, clean the slime off, that's
It's
really
still
weird to
yeah,
hold an
exactly.
octopus in height. I couldn't do that.
Yeah, it's gross. And they would I think they said the last game at that arena that they were at, they threw I think it's 36 octopus onto the ice at that particular time. So like that's just something that I just never I don't get it. I don't understand it. I kind of hate it. Um, it just doesn't really. I mean, it's like it's
Is
unique,
there any
but I just
particular
don't
reason
understand
they do? I mean, any
the
particular
reason why.
situation that happens that they do it?
I think they just said the first playoff like home playoff games. That's all they said.
And
At least the article I read, it just said home
yeah,
playoff games. So
yeah.
and
Cole Rambo here on Peak One Sports, the Bungalow Sports Show. He's a hockey
mm,
fan, and then one of our writers at Peak One, Adam. If y'all are listening, comment down
mhm,
below and tell us what's going on
please,
if we have something
please.
wrong here because that an octopus. I thought I heard something about it. Like I think they might still do it because I heard something during the playoffs.
Yeah, I think they said
Uh,
someone just did it last playoffs, but it
maybe
was
maybe
like
that's
I
what
think
they
it
were
was
copying, but it
ants.
was like stuffed animal
It
octopus,
might have been. It might have been.
octopi, octopuses, whatever.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um,
Oh, yeah, it says third.
because I definitely heard about this. That I could if you would have told me, asked me about the octopuses in hockey, I would have said, yeah, I heard
Hmm.
something about it. I don't know that I'd have pegged the Detroit Red Wings as a because that doesn't like
That doesn't
what.
even. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I like you said, there's a photo shoot. Maybe there was some sort of
Hmm.
advertising or commercial that would make more sense, and it just an octopus happened to fall into this situation where it could have been it could have been dead sharks
Yeah,
for all
that's a
you know.
long. That's like such a long time to be throwing octopus or octopi, whatever.
And it
That's just like
sounds like
so
an
weird.
expensive deal. I mean,
Yeah,
I've never.
I think he gave him a deal though. I think the guy that owns the restaurant, he probably just gives him, like a buy one get one type of
Yeah,
thing or something like
an
that.
octopus might be pretty cheap. He says a restaurant, so I'm assuming pretty small. But
Hmm.
I've never eaten octopus. I couldn't tell you how much it costs. I just assume because it's a pretty rare thing
Hmm.
that it would be on the more expensive side. But
Hmm.
I mean, Detroit Red Wings, it's a big team in Detroit. I mean,
Yeah,
hockey's big,
yeah,
so if the owner of the restaurant's a Red Wings fan,
yeah. I think he is. Yeah.
But if you told me like when they score their second goal or one player like instead of the hat trick, like
I'm gonna look it
oh I'll
up.
tell you what they talked about. I remember now it was called the rat trick.
Hmm.
Uh who does the rat trick? I think it was the second goal they would throw rats on the ice.
Oh man,
I can't remember what
I
team
know a
and
lot
then
of teams.
and then this in this discussion the octopus thing came out.
I know a lot of teams will like follow suit. Like there are some teams that throw fish onto the ice
Yeah.
now because of like the octopus thing. So
Yeah, I
I
think
don't
the
know why
rat
it happened.
trick was like when a player scored 2 goals, or maybe it was
Mhm.
3 goals, but I can't remember what team. I want to say it was, it can't be the Kraken because they're a brand new team. But yeah, people comment down below and
Yeah, yeah.
tell us
I'm
what
like
we're missing here. But
confused.
yeah,
Yeah,
I remember that with the playoffs this past year, they were
it
talking
just
about
says
the
for
rat
good luck.
trick, and
It
then
just
it
says
got
for
brought up that yeah, we throw octopus, octopuses,
yeah.
octopi on the ice.
So it says Al the octopus is their mascot. So
Oh,
um
that's what it was. Because yeah, it was the Kraken because somebody said that would have been more fitting for the Kraken
with the Kraken, then
to throw an octopus on the ice
then
than the Red Wings
yeah, okay.
because they're the Kraken.
Yeah, and it says this usually occurs after the national anthem or after a goal is scored. So either right at the beginning of the game or right after the first goal that they score. So
So you talking about the Kraken now or the Red Wings?
no, this is the Red
Oh,
Wings.
the
This
Red
was
Wings. Okay.
I think it's been outlawed, but that's when they would do it. So um
Yeah, the
that's just
Kraken
weird.
should jump all over this.
Yeah, they I mean
They're more relevant
I
than the
would-
Red Wings right now.
yeah,
You
no,
just,
definitely, yeah, they're really
uh, yeah. I mean, they should obviously not use a real octopus. They should use stuffed
but
animals or
I know
something.
in Seattle they're known for like like they throw fish and
Yeah,
you know
Seattle's got yeah a crazy fan
got
base.
the markets and everything. Like they have like all the fresh like seafood markets and they throw the fish across the like market or whatever. So it would be fitting. It would be like a little crazy for the Zamboni people to clean up, but
Yeah.
that'd be pretty cool.
Surely they'd use like brooms or something. I think I've seen that them use
Yeah,
brooms
yeah.
with the hats or whatever. But I never
Hmm.
understood the hat throwing the hats or the hat trick. I mean, I understand why they do it. Man, hats are expensive.
Yeah,
They
I
should
always wondered that too.
they should like just have really cheap hats on standby, and when a player gets his second goal, start passing them out just to throw
Yeah,
them. Because man, I'm
yeah,
not throwing my $50 whatever hat
exactly.
I am wearing it. And when I go to sporting events, I don't wear the cheapest hat. I wear the
Hmm.
nicest hat I
Pretty
have.
good. Yeah, pretty nice
Yeah.
hat. Yeah.
And there were a lot that I had to run through to narrow it down to
Hmm.
three. Uh, I know I'd mentioned to you as an example was the Red Sox singing "Sweet Caroline"
Yeah.
as one. I just didn't. I mean, that was I couldn't decide whether I. It's all right. I'm not a Red Sox fan.
Hmm.
It's a good song.
What college team does it? Is that Penn State or
They sing. Oh man, I can't remember. Yeah, they sing a song
there's
too.
a I know West Virginia sings Country Roads.
Yeah, Penn State. No, because I read about the Penn State one too. I can't remember what song it is, but yeah, we have a lot of honorable mentions. Sorry if
Yeah,
we got
definitely.
left off. Let us know what y'all's favorite college traditions or just stupid ones, notable ones. Let us know, and maybe we'll
Yeah,
shout them out in the next episode. Because yeah, there were a
absolutely.
lot. I'm sure Chris went through too.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, Ones that I really had a strong opinion. I wanted to get in here, not just like yeah, it's a cool deal. Seventh inning stretch, thing, take me out to the ball game. The national anthem, I was going to talk about, but I mean, you couldn't talk about that without talking about controversy, and
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
not,
yeah, yeah.
we're not going to talk about.
Right.
We talk about that sort of stuff on a
Hmm.
sports show.
Hmm.
Um, then you give your opinion and alienate half of. That's why I don't talk
Right.
politics on here. I'm really into politics, but I won't because somebody who might really like listening to me finds out I don't
Hmm.
believe the same thing they do
And
politically,
it's over. Yeah.
and they're not like, why would you stop listening to me just because So I don't
Right.
even.
Hmm.
You got me on a rant now. Not you. I did
Yeah.
it on myself. I did it myself. You were just sitting there listening.
That was funny.
Yeah, I can't. Yeah, I don't understand some of these rivalries or rivalries.
Hmm.
Some of these traditions.
Hmm.
Um, man, maybe somebody will educate us on those. But
Yeah,
thanks for
please.
listening to us ramble. At least me ramble on. Be sure to subscribe, follow us, share us, tell us you hate us, love us, whatever. Just comment down below. Any final
Yeah.
thoughts, Chris?
Oh no, that was good. I love talking about stuff like that. We'll probably maybe have another one. We can. There's a lot of traditions we could talk about. We'll probably have another episode on it. So
Like the sports, the sports curses. Maybe there will be popularity with them,
yeah,
and we'll bring you back. But guys, until next time, I'm Ashton.
Chris, see you guys.